Thank you. Thank you very much, Dean Mayer, for the lovely words of welcome, and to Vusi Maklasea. Unbelievable. What a performance. Unbelievable. It reminds me a little bit of going on after you is a challenge. It reminds me of a story when Barbara Streisand was young. I'm told she was in a singing contest, and some poor schmo had to follow her, and he went up, what am I supposed to do now, bird imitations? So that's, but it's my honor to welcome all of you to the 7th Annual Skoll World Forum on Social Entrepreneurship. And I'd like to thank everyone from the Skoll Foundation and the Skoll Center for their hard work in preparing for this event. It's hard to believe how far social entrepreneurship has come in these last 7 years. We've gone from a curiosity to a force in society. Muhammad Yunus, Bill Drayton, Craig Kielburger, and Paul Farmer have all become rock stars. And the term social entrepreneurship has even entered the public lexicon, and one day may even be in the Oxford Dictionary. Speaking of Oxford, I came across an interesting story recently. For 5 centuries, it was believed that the founder of University College, generally agreed to be Oxford's oldest surviving college, was none other than King Alfred, the 9th King of Wessex, slayer of Viking invaders, and the first great hero of English history. For nearly 6 centuries, King Alfred was celebrated with anniversary dinners, toasts, and celebrations. That is until one day somebody questioned the legend, did a little digging, and found that King Alfred had nothing at all to do with the founding of University College. It turns out that in 1381, during a dispute over property rights, some students of the university forged documents to suggest that King Alfred had founded the college. And since it had royal roots, the monarch should be its protector in the dispute. Not surprisingly, the crown agreed, and the legend served University College well for many years. But over time, as people learned the truth, the legend disintegrated. The final straw came in 1872 when a famous historian excused himself from an elaborate banquet in Alfred's honor by sending along 2 burnt cakes in his place, a reference to a famous story about Alfred. Now, as many of you know, we have a tradition of giving unique gifts to at this forum to the leadership of the school. So, Dean Mayer, in celebration, I'd like to offer 2 magnificent cakes, not the least bit burnt, to enjoy at our dinner later this evening. The point of this story is that enduring beliefs are slow to change. And because time is not on our side, because slow is the enemy of us all, I want to amplify a lesson that I've learned from many of you here today. The lesson is particularly important for our theme this year, catalyzing collaboration for large-scale change. Even though most of us are driven by a moral imperative, the desire to do the right thing, we know that wanting to do the right thing alone is not enough to accelerate change across multiple countries, cultures, and even companies. Countries are run by governments that have constituent interests. Cultures are steeped in ideologies that go back for centuries. And companies are accountable to investors and other vested interests. Even when countries, cultures, and companies are considered moral, doing the right thing is still usually driven by self-interest. And self-interest itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It's simply driven by wants and needs. Social entrepreneurs depend on partners from social, corporate, academic, finance, and policy sectors, each with their own set of wants and needs. And as we like to say, changing the world is truly a team sport. And there can be much to gain by leveraging collective self-interest. Your incredible stories of success make this lesson especially vivid. Willie Foote, for example, helped Starbucks build their fair trade coffee business, while Starbucks improves the livelihoods of farmers in Africa and Latin America. Soraya Salti has brought practical business training to hundreds of thousands of students in the Middle East. And in turn, the ministries of education across the region embrace her programs because they help produce a more qualified, more determined group of young workers. Bill Strickland gets local companies to sponsor his centers in the inner cities and to train workers in turn for those companies. And Gideon Bromberg, Munketh Mayar, and Nader Al-Khatib leverage the most basic mutual interest, water, as a platform for collaboration and problem solving in Jordan, Israel, and Palestine. By galvanizing collective self-interest, these leaders are laying the groundwork for enduring large-scale change. The mass media can also be used to inspire collective self-interest. Through my company, Participant Media, we've released 23 socially relevant films over the last 5 years, including Academy Award winners The Cove and An Inconvenient Truth. And along those lines, I'm pleased to announce that for the first time, we've been able to bring not one, but two new movies from Participant to be shown at the Skoll World Forum, Countdown to Zero and Oceans. The first film, Countdown to Zero, is about the very important but largely forgotten issue of nuclear weapons. We began this movie about 3 years ago, and it opens in theaters in July. I'm very proud to be presenting that movie at 10 p.m. tonight, and I'm told that the venue, which was listed in your program, has changed, and it's at the Odeon Cinema on Maudlin Street. Hopefully the movie isn't Maudlin, but and it's actually spelled Magdalene Street, I'm told, so please look for that. The second movie is called Oceans, and it was recently released in Europe after 6 years in the making. Filmed in every ocean of the world, the cameras have captured the magic that is under the seas. And our good friend Jake Eberts will present the film tomorrow night, and I believe the details for that are in fact in your program. And if you've ever seen Winged Migration or watched the series Planet Earth, you'll be blown away by this film. In closing, as I think of you and the past 7 years, I'm reminded of the words of the Irish poet Brendan Kennelly, who wrote, "If you want to serve the age, betray it." So what are the ideas worth betraying today? To me, it begins with toppling the myth that truth and the moral imperative alone will always prevail. We can't fix every problem. There are some challenges that have been with us since the time of King Alfred, but the ones that we can solve, the ones that are in our collective self-interest, we must. Social entrepreneurs prove that together we can change the world for the betterment of us all. So, in the tradition of King Alfred, let's celebrate being together in Oxford, and may all of your cakes this week be magnificent and not burnt. Thank you. Thank you very much. One person who proves the significance of galvanizing collective self-interest is Lakhdar Brahimi, a man who advocates for peace because he has seen the effects of war. Lakhdar has always been a warrior. He fought for the resistance in Algeria, he defended his country as foreign minister, and he fought for peace as the UN Special Representative to Afghanistan, Iraq, Haiti, and South Africa. Having been in battle, Lakhdar understands the gritty, unpleasant, and hard work of peacemaking. He knows firsthand that it is never easy to reach across the aisle to someone who has killed or destroyed things precious to you. But he also knows that you have to reach. Few can match Lakhdar's experience and prestige, yet what sets him apart from so many leaders is his humility. A colleague of mine once remarked that what makes Lakhdar so impressive is that he disappears. When he comes into a room, he makes the conversation about other people. It's never about him. And this has made him tremendously effective as a peace negotiator because his sole objective is peace. Today, Lakhdar continues his fight for positive change as a member of the Elders, an organization convened by Nelson Mandela to support peace building, alleviate human suffering, and promote the shared interests of humanity. It's through my work with the Elders and Sally's work with the Elders that we've come to know this wonderful man. So please welcome Lakhdar Brahimi.